So if you saw the videos for the rings or the armor, then you know I also included tier lists. And that's what we're going to do on this one. However, though, as I said in those ones, I do tier lists a little different. I go and rank the first one as the worst, and then the final one as the best. Now, all these accessories will have their basic attribute of HP and defense, and all the non-S grade ones will have a rare stat of global HP plus 10%. Now, the one that I'm calling the worst is going to be the Vitality Stone. And this one will have the epic stat of your basic attacks will give the chance of restoring your lost hit points by 10%. So if you're missing 1,000,000 hit points, you have the chance of getting 100,000 hit points back. Now this will be a game of chance, but I will say when I did go in this battle right here, I did heal up twice. And as I lost more HP, I regained more HP out of it. But having a chance at just the basic attack and then only 10% really falls short when it comes to using something like the Icy Bubble. And this one will have the epic stat of the chance to trigger an Ice Spike. Now when this Ice Spike does hit, we are going to be doing 30% of our damage. And where our HP is normally 3 times our attack anyways, it's going to be the lost health on that Vitality Stone, so technically you'd have to be about 1 HP to get really the max out of it. But this Icy Bubble, when it does hit, you're guaranteed that 30%, and I'm more of an attack person than HP, so that's why I'm putting it in the second worst. Now the Frostwind Horn, that's going to be doing an additional 30% damage to frozen or stunned enemies. And if you saw the ring video there, then you know that I'm sitting on a whole bunch of these shadow rings, which ironically go and freeze the enemy. So for me, this is really the best deal on it there. I like having good concrete stats. Yes, I do have to wait for those rings to go and freeze, but this is something you can build around and not have to worry about that chance of luck. Now when it comes to the S grades, the one that I'm going to put in the third best is going to be the Gloryproof. Now all these S grades will have an uncommon of global HP plus 10% and then an epic of global HP plus 25%. Now the way this is going to work is basic attacks will do 5% true damage equal to whatever your health is on your character. And I didn't spot this one right away, but after you make your basic attack, you'll see a second number in red, and that's going to be the true damage. Now this does say up to 10 times your attack damage, but you would have to have an incredibly large amount of HP and a very low amount of attack, so we're probably never going to really hit that, but I haven't gotten far enough to see that. But all I know is that as you go down in health, this number is going to go down with it. So I would imagine if you had something like damage resistance goes up every single round, this would be a great one to have, but that's not one that you see too often for a skill. Honestly, I'd rather switch to one like what I'm calling the second best one, the Bloody Grail out, which is going to inflict 2 rounds of vitality, which will allow you to do 40% more damage when critting. Now I don't know if this is bugged, but after my basic attack, that's when this whole vitality thing popped up for the icon, and this thing's lasting until round 6 until I finally kill the enemy. And you can see here I typically hit for 1.98, and when I crit, I'm hitting for 5.66 million, which is my 203% crit rate plus that 40%. But the one that's going to blow these all out of the water is going to be this Reckoning Badge. And when you go and get an enemy's health below 50%, you're now doing an additional 150% damage whenever you're using a skill. And the whole time I was tracking my spear on this, which was doing 521,000, and I wasn't seeing any change of that number at all. I was a little confused, had to go back a couple of times, and then I realized that on top of that 521, I was getting hits for 2.5 million. Now, regardless of what skill you're using inside the game, it could be any skill, you're going to be taking what your overall attack is down the bottom of the screen and then timesing that by 150%. So I was just kind of going in on the bare bones of this to get the testing, and we had the spear, but my weapon also tossed out a couple of daggers. And even those rings that I use that throw out icy spikes also, any single skill I was using inside the game, regardless of that damage, was hitting an additional 2.5 million on top of the regular attack. And those are some pretty freaking big numbers when you're looking at what skills usually do of like 30%, to go and now have an extra 150% added on that for every single skill. This is something I'm going to try to get a second one of these and just grind the heck out of this game. So I'm glad I did this video because I learned a lot out of this, but let me know what you guys think and how you would rank these inside the game. If you didn't see the one on the rings, take a look at this video right here. Thanks for watching, and remember, I pick my butt.